So today I'm doing something different. I'm just on my lunch break at work right now, and I'm just going to do a bit of yapping while doing my gym session, because sometimes I don't have time to do proper videos where I sit down and I just talk to the camera about technical stuff. Sometimes I just want to show what I'm doing in my days. So the first step of that is going to the gym, as I try to keep my non-negotiable for the day. But of course, sometimes things get busy, things come up. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're a very busy person as well. Being a tutor, running a business, but also doing whatever else you do in your days. So I think it's good. Everyone should exercise. It's awesome. I've noticed while being in busy periods, the best gym routine that I like to use is just doing upper and lower alternating days. So on my upper days, I just combine chest, shoulders, back, abs, biceps, triceps. Just do one of them each, try to keep it in compound movements. Because that way, if I'm not able to train upper body for the next 3 days, I know I've ticked off all those body parts, so I don't have to stress about making up for lost time and hitting them more so later. Just tick them all off, do the sets very close to failure for all those exercises, but only have to do, just one exercise per body part for each of those upper days, and just try to keep it compound movements so there's a bit of overlap. So try to stick to dips, pull-ups, any other exercises that might be compound based movements. And then for the lower days, it's pretty standard, just traditional legs. I try to walk as much as I can, try to hit 10,000 steps per day, even if I'm busy. Just trying to get my steps up, get my vitamin D up, and then I'll try and run as much as I can as well. But of course, around these other workouts, around the walking every day, it's pretty hard to fit in the running, but I'm trying to make that more of a habit. If I can do it every day where I work from home before I start work, like that'll be the most ideal routine for me. But if you're really busy and you don't have time to work out, well, you don't have time to work out, it's more about making time to do it. So for example, what I try to do is, I'm on my lunch break at my full-time job at the moment, and instead of having an extravagant lunch and taking an extended lunch break, I'll do a quick workout, a half-an-hour workout. So walk into the gym, half-an-hour workout, walk back, and then I just have something quick to eat so I can get back to work. Because it's just about being efficient with it and just ticking it off. And if I could go through the motions, then I've kind of satisfied my need to exercise and de-stress from the work day. Because I have a really hectic day today, because I do my full-time job 8:30 to 5 p.m. and then after work I have 5 sales calls booked back to back. So I just want to make sure that I have this is my time to myself. Just make sure that I set the time out to do my exercise, do my workout, and I feel as if this is just going to set me up well for the rest of the day, just to be able to smash it out. And I'm going to have a long day, finish up at 10 p.m. after finishing all my calls, but I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do so, and I have the energy to do so, and I still have the energy to actually work out and de-stress from all these things as well. Because it can be hard, as I'm not sure if the microphone's picking this up, but it can be hard as someone who works full-time and also runs a business. And of course, there's so many other things to maintain, such as physical health, mental health, family, friendships, relationships. You have to set the time out to do all these things. It has to be very intentional. So I know that my lunch break, when I come to the gym, it's very intentional. I'm just coming here, working out, being efficient. Not as efficient today because I'm recording my workout, but I just thought I'd give a bit of insight into how my day actually looks, because I understand a lot of you are in a position where you might have other responsibilities aside from building your tutoring business. You might study full-time, you might work full-time, you might study and still work, and you also want to build your business. And I've been managing this dynamic trying to manage this dynamic for about 4 years now. So from 2021, middle of 2021, I started my tutoring business with my best friend and stopped the tutoring business and transitioned into this new business coaching venture. But since 2021, all the way up until now, I've just been figuring out the best way of balancing my time and knowing, and I can understand, and I I've kind of learned how much I can actually manage. So it might seem a bit extensive, working full time, going to the gym on my lunch break, and then doing my sales calls after work from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. But that's just the way that I know it works. I prefer to just bank that at the start of the week, tick off all those calls at the start of the week, and the rest of the week can be focused, on my own time, spending time with family, spending time with friends, spending time with my partner, and just doing everything else I need to do for my life.
Hopefully this is a bit better with the audio. I moved the microphone to my shirt. But my usual routine when I'm trying to manage full-time work and also running my business is, of course, you work full-time and you just tick off those hours, you just get it done. I more think about it as just like an means to an end. I really like my work, but I know in the long term, I'm not sure how long term is, but in the very long term, I don't think I'll be working it. I think my ideal life would be doing my business as my full-time thing. But in terms of how I try to manage the business hours outside of that, what I do is I like to bank up, I like to have stretches of different things that I'm doing every week. So at the start of the week, I prefer to bank all my sales calls, just get them out of the way, because that's my least favorite activity, doing the sales calls, because it's quite exhausting actually. It's quite mentally exhausting doing the sales calls. But you have to get them done, of course, because you have to bring in clients, right? If you're doing a business, you have to bring in clients. So that's what I like to do. Start of the week, just tick it off. Wednesday, I either run a church group or I attend a Bible study. That's most Wednesdays. And then Thursday, Friday, I usually leave for content creation after work. So I'll either record some YouTube videos, record some Instagram videos, edit them, and then post them. And I'm hoping to, and the hope is that they're kind of prepared for the week. Same as Saturday as well. I usually leave Saturday for longer forms of videos, like YouTube videos or internal content for my clients. And that's more so because it's just like a stretch of time that I have available on Saturday to tick them off. And then Sunday is usually some sort of social activity. So it'll be going to church, spending time with my partner, spending time with family. I don't like to have anything like formally planned for my business. If I have the time, then and I feel motivated to do it, then I'll do it. But it's not a critical, essential thing. It's more so if I have the time to do it. For example, if I have the bandwidth to like host sales calls at the end of the week on the Sunday evening, then I'll do that in the Sunday evening, just to alleviate some pressure earlier for the start of the next week. But that's how I like to do things. I like to have bursts of time where I spend on one thing, and that way I'm not like, my brain's not scattered focusing on sales calls all the week, or like all the time throughout the week. My brain's not scattered trying to think about content ideas throughout the week. I just have bursts of time, one day stretch or a couple of days stretch, where I focus on those things completely. And I've especially noticed that's really beneficial for sales calls, because it's a build up of momentum. A sales call for our business, for your tutoring business as well, it's a skill, and it's a trained skill. But at the same time, if you're I'm really exhausted. If you're in a state where you're doing 5-6 sales calls back to back, you'll notice that the structure of them is very similar. And if you're in the flow state where you've done one sales call, you have momentum, it went well, and even if it didn't go well, you learn lessons on looking back at it, and you can implement those lessons that you've gathered onto the next sales calls, and it's really fresh in your mind. So a really common thing that you're most likely going to come past a lot in your tutoring and your business experience is, oh, this is too much money for me, there are cheaper competitors. So knowing, like experiencing that live, getting that rejection or dealing with the rejection, and then being able to apply it to the future sales calls right after the previous one is an awesome opportunity that you should make the most of. So that's why I like to book the sales calls in stretches like that. So I've got 5 sales calls today. Hopefully, if I continue this vlog after that, I can let you know live how they actually go. But as for myself anyway, I prefer to have that momentum of, okay, ticked off one, ticked off the other, tick off 5 in a row, and I can learn live what's like what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and implement those fixes straight away while it's still fresh in my mind. So we'll see how it goes. I think it'll definitely be a long day. And that's why I wanted to record this video, because I wanted to intentionally come to the gym. It was extra incentive to come to the gym so I can record this video. I can show you guys what I actually do on my day to day, and kind of, I want to start doing that with my content a bit more. Start involving like you guys in essentially the process behind how I structure my day, how I manage my time, what I actually focus on with my time as well. Because as I said at the start of the video, I know a lot of you guys are in the position where you're working full time or you're studying while you're still trying to build up a business. It's very rare that people build up a business when they have nothing else going on in their lives. So you have to actually find ways to be able to manage that. And if you can't manage that and it's not a sustainable thing, then you're not going to be able to grow a business. Because you need to have a sustainable system that works. And whenever in periods of time where I was trying to build my tutoring business and it wasn't sustainable, then that's when I didn't see growth. Because I had little bursts of opportunities where I tried to like really go full on, and then once the excitement wore off, and once I realized that it wasn't sustainable, and once I started feeling that it wasn't sustainable due to fatigue, due to stress, then that's when I ended up doing, it ended up being not beneficial for me, and it ended up being worse off for my progress. There was a really significant period of time where I was really burnt out by business because I wasn't doing it in a sustainable way, and I onboarded 15 students in the matter of a few week period, and I was so excited, and 15 students in a few week period was an awesome period of time for me. Because I felt like I was making really good progress. And then I realized that I didn't actually have the bandwidth at that period of time. I didn't have the systems in place to manage those students. And I unfortunately had to let most of them go because the stress was just getting to me too much. And that was really like, you experience the high of getting those clients in and making that progress, but then the going down the hill was, a more like, I end up being worse off by the end of it because that loss that you experience is just as significant in a negative sense as the gain you experience by gaining those students in the first place. So that was a really big lesson for me. And that's why with my current business of helping businesses, I'm limiting to myself to just having, maybe 6 to 8 clients at a time, just focusing on them completely, putting all my effort towards them, and not expanding any further until I know that I'm in a position where I can actually manage it and I can actually deliver to the clients what they pay for and what they desire, because their achievements are my achievements. And if I could get them the results and I could help build something for them, then I'm not only doing what they pay for, but I'm also, if you're a future client, then this is just some intel, but if I can fulfill what's required of me based on what they pay and based on what I say that I could possibly deliver to them, then that's a really big achievement for me, and I really want to, of course, achieve that for all my clients and make sure that I give them the highest possibility of success. Okay, I'm just leaving the gym now, but I realize there's something really, really important as well. An important lesson from this video too is that when you're trying to build your business, one important takeaway that I'd recommend you really focusing on from this video is that you see that I'm on my lunch break, I don't have a huge amount of time, and the workout is suboptimal. I'm not really getting the most out of the workout because I'm limiting the amount of time that I could spend at the gym. For example, if I want to get a proper gym session in, then I'm going to be spending 90 minutes at the gym. Realistically, on a day like today, I don't have 90 minutes to spend at the gym to go through a full exercise routine. But as someone who's an entrepreneur, it's kind of weird to say it, but as someone who runs a business and also works full time, I realize that you just have to make the most of the times that you have available. So if I just have half an hour on my lunch break to go to the gym, then I just want to do that because I know that's the only time I have available. And sometimes as business people, we just have to make the most of the time that we have available. So when you're making content, when you're delivering to students, try to deliver in ways that are actually efficient. And do whatever you can. Sometimes it's really hard because I'm sure a lot of you come from, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you come from a background where you've excelled in school, and if something's not perfect, then you try and fix it. And it's really easy to quantify how well you're doing, because you have tests and you have exams and you have scores that actually quantify how well you're doing and how well you're not doing. But in business, you don't have those metrics like you do at school. Business is one of those places where it's what we call an infinite game, where you can just keep on making things better, you can keep on improving, you can keep on making more content, and there's no tick of the box, there's no box ticking where you say, okay, I've done this for the day and I'm done. You can just keep on doing stuff. You can keep on making more content, you can keep on reaching out to more students, you can keep on making new ads, you can keep on making more money. But there's no end to it. So one thing you have to do is just accept to yourself that, accept to yourself that, you could always do more, but sometimes just doing something is enough. So that's a critical lesson for today. I'll give you a quick example, right? During my day today, I work 9 to 5, I'm going to gym on my lunch break, I've got sales calls from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. right after work. Thank you. I've got sales calls from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. right after work. So if I don't make any content today, and if I don't post today on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, then I shouldn't beat myself up because of it, because I had literally no opportunity to do so. Or as long as I know that I'm making the most of my bandwidth and my capacity, then that's the most important thing to me. And if I'm not doing that, then there has to be a reason why. For example, I'm burnt out, I'm stressed, I just need some time to relax, and that's completely fair as well. But with my routine and with my scheduling, if I structure things in a way where I tend to feel burnt out less, then that's a really sustainable way of doing things. So for example, today I'll smash it out, I'll do all my sales calls, and tomorrow I'm not going to feel as much pressure to tick off those high bandwidth activities. Thank you. As I was saying, I'm not going to feel as much pressure to do those high bandwidth activities, such as sales calls or recording really long YouTube videos. But I could do more low bandwidth activities, such as doing casual catch-ups with my clients, or just brainstorming some YouTube video ideas. Those things I find more enjoyable, so I see them as lower bandwidth activities, so I could just do them whenever I feel a little bit more tired, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if someone's studying at school, let's say if one of your students is studying and they find maths more interesting than English, then maths should be something that they're doing when they're more tired and they don't feel like they have the energy, because there's not as much resistance to doing those activities or studying those subjects. So I have exactly the same mindset when it comes to work for my business too.